So baby, you're not lost. Yeah.
That was some Michael Bublé Christmas music brought to you by Lauri Leadley, folks. Lauri, welcome to the call. Thank you so much for joining tonight. You guys are really going to be excited and interested to hear her story. She is one of the best and most interesting sleep apnea stories out there. And Lauri, I know you've struggled with obstructive sleep apnea for a long time, and you're telling us before the call started that finally you're on a right track to where it's fixed, and that's just great to hear.
That's right. Can you hear me okay?
I can. And folks, so Lauri is not only the CEO and founder of Valley Sleep Center, she's a respiratory therapist and a sleep technologist, but also she's one of the newest patients for this new therapy she's going to talk about. So Lauri, when you want to get going, I'm going to show folks how to ask you a question, guys. Questions are 100% anonymous. They'll go directly to Lauri, and then my co-host, Lauri Beeler, I will read them to you guys, and it'll go directly to Lauri, and your name won't come up. So welcome to the call. Lauri, do you want to get started now, or do you want to wait a couple minutes?
Let's see. It is, it's 5:32. Let's start. I'm ready.
Okay, so Lauri, welcome to the call.
All right, welcome everyone. As a 6-week-old infant, I had pneumonia and was in and out of the hospital much of my pediatric life. I had a tonsillectomy at age 4. I had juvenile rheumatoid arthritis at age 8, and all the medical care that I received while I was in the hospital with all these illnesses led me to want to become a respiratory therapist. I was fascinated by the physiology of sleep and breathing, maybe because my own dad snored like a herd of elephants. My first cancer was at age 26, and I continued to struggle with reoccurring pneumonias. So by age 30, I knew that I probably had obstructive sleep apnea. And what this is when the tongue and soft palate relax during sleep, blocking airflow. It's characterized by snoring in most patients, and over 20 million Americans have moderate to severe sleep apnea, and I have severe. So this is what we see on a sleep study. If you look in the bottom of your screen here, we see an epic, which is 30 seconds to a minute of a sleep study. We measure all kinds of things in a study, but one of the critical things is oxygen saturation, and we're hearing a lot about that in the news these days with COVID. So imagine holding your breath for 47 seconds. That's what happens when you are sleeping and you have sleep apnea. Your oxygen level drops. So in this person, they held their breath for 47 seconds. Their oxygen level went all the way down to 84%. They took a breath. They stopped breathing again for 86 seconds. And then their oxygen level dropped to 74%. And this is like running a marathon all night. This is what your body is doing over and over again as you sleep and obstruct. You're running a race. So there's a lot of consequences to untreated sleep apnea. You have fatigue, diminished productivity. Your bed partner is constantly complaining about your snoring. You're an accident risk to our community. If you're an over-the-road truck driver, a heavy machine operator, you're climbing telephone poles, you're a risk to our entire society. And above all, your own heart and brain health are suffering because you're not treating the sleep apnea. So I believe that my untreated sleep apnea led to my cancer diagnosis. In 2015, I got a second cancer, breast cancer. And so that's when I really started to take my health seriously. So I tried using CPAP. It works great for most people who use it regularly. Just some can't acclimate, and I was actually one of those people. And it was a really difficult thing for me. I mean, here I am, a respiratory therapist, a sleep tech. I have the experts right at my hands, and I'm struggling with this therapy. And it was honestly embarrassing that I could not do this. So you're not alone. There's oral appliances. I used an oral appliance that works great. I had a board certified sleep dentist make mine. It worked great while my sleep apnea was mild to moderate, but once I went to severe, it didn't work as well anymore. There's anatomy altering surgeries. This is where we remove parts of the jaw and tongue to create a larger airway. This isn't something that I was a candidate for. And I had my tonsils out when I was a little girl. So before we, determined that Inspire was for me, I made sure from the ENT, is there any other surgeries that I might need to help open up my airway? And he said no, but everyone's different. So now we have Inspire, and Inspire is a safe outpatient procedure. You get a remote, you press a button to go to sleep, and you press a button to wake up. Well, when you wake up. So this is how it works. You can see here this patient has Inspire. He's placing the remote control over his device, activating it, and then as he falls asleep, Inspire senses your breathing, syncs with it, and then stimulates the back of the airway, pushing the soft palate and tongue out of the way, opening up that airway, eliminating most snoring and sleep apnea. So Inspire is inserted through 3 small incisions. It's a fast recovery. Typically, we just use over-the-counter meds for post-op pain. I used anti-inflammatories. You can return to non-strenuous activities within just a few days. It has an 11-year battery life, and MRIs can be done safely on the head, neck, and extremities. So here we have, we're going to look at down the throat of what happens when we have an apnea. So the first video here is a scope going down the throat without any stimulation. That's the base of the tongue occluding and the soft palate just to the right. You can see the bubbles bubbling up. That's what an apnea looks like when you're breathing. And then on the right, with mild stimulation of Inspire sleep therapy, you can see how the stimulation is pushing, I should say, stimulating the tongue and soft palate out of the way and opening up. You can see the airway open there. So once you have surgery, we're going to bring you back into the sleep center 30 days later. This is where we turn on Inspire for the very first time. We want to establish some comfortable initial settings. We want to make sure they're effective. We're going to teach you how to use the sleep remote, and we're going to send you home for the next 90 days with this great video book here too to refer to if you have any questions. And you're going to get used to using Inspire sleep therapy for the first time at home over the next 90 days. So Inspire does have indications. You need to have moderate to severe obstructive sleep apnea, unable to get consistent benefit from CPAP. You cannot be significantly overweight, but don't let that deter you. We have a solution. You need to pass an airway exam. You have to be 18 years or older. And insurance, we now have 95% of local insurance policies are covering, and they have an actual Inspire, upper airway stimulation policy as part of your insurance plans. So if you haven't had a recent sleep study, like within the last 2 years, you're going to need a new one. So here's Joanne, and Joanne was a huge inspiration to me. She's about my same age, and she had a lot of underlying health conditions as well and was struggling with CPAP, and she chose to get Inspire. And we do measure your apnea with something called an apnea-hypopnea index, or an AHI, and that's how we tell if you're moderate to severe. So you can see here in red, her pre-Inspire AHI was 21.83, and that's moderate sleep apnea. And once Joanne was implanted with Inspire, and she went home after she was activated at 30 days, spent 90 days working at home, and then we brought her back into the sleep center for what we call a fine-tune study. And you can see there in the red box that her apnea-hypopnea index was less than 2, which is a cure. And then here's my sleep study. So prior to getting Inspire, my apnea-hypopnea index was 63.78, which is severe. Shocked all the doctors there because someone of my stature doesn't typically have an AHI that high, but I did. It's all anatomy and the way that your airway is built. And I think I mentioned that my dad had severe sleep apnea. I have a same airway, so I've struggled as well. So after I got implanted in February, activated in March, I went back into the sleep center 90 days later, and now my apnea hypopnea index is under 4. Again, anything under 5 is considered a cure, is normal. So if you're struggling with CPAP, I would encourage you to book an appointment with Andrew Neighbors. He's our respiratory therapist. He works with people all day, every day. He also does video telemedicine conferencing. You can also meet with him in person at any of our locations. I think he goes to Biltmore, Scottsdale, and Arrowhead, possibly Goodyear. And if you're in the East Valley, he can do a telemedicine visit with you and really help you work through your CPAP issues before you totally throw in the towel. I really encourage you to work with Andrew. And then if you're struggling with your weight, if your BMI is over 32 or 35, depending on what your insurance is, we can help. So if you have obstructive sleep apnea, your insurance will pay for Sleep to Slender, which is our medically supervised weight loss program, where our nurse practitioners will meet with you. We have a whole meal plan program. We have a private Facebook group where we do workouts. It's a really great program. We've had a lot of people that have lost 20 to 30 pounds. One of them is my very own sister. She's close to losing 30 pounds right now. So really encourage you, if you're struggling with your weight, to check out Sleep to Slender. So how to schedule. So if you are ready to move forward and you would like more information or you'd like an Inspire consult, first of all, just raise your hand now, or you can put your phone number in the Q&A. Only the moderators will see that. It's completely anonymous. And we will have a scheduler call you to schedule an Inspire consult. Or you can go to valleysleepcenter.com, and when you click on valleysleepcenter.com, there's a box that pops up, and which is Ask a Sleep Coach. We'll get to that in a second. But you can also schedule an appointment right here by clicking Schedule an Appointment, and you'll get to this screen, which is schedule an appointment online on the left, or you can schedule an appointment via email on the right. You fill out that form, and a scheduler will call you. We have schedulers working till 9 o'clock tonight. And then if you click on the left, you'll get our online scheduling portal, and you can choose Inspire Consult Established Patient if you're already a patient. You can also choose Inspire Consult Telemedicine if you'd just rather do a video consult from the comfort of your own home. If you are just wanting to pay cash and not deal with your insurance, we have an excellent, easy cash pay option. For $500, our premium package will get you a virtual consult, a disposal home sleep test mailed to your house, and a virtual follow-up. You never have to leave your house, and we can diagnose you with sleep apnea. Super simple. And then lastly, Ask a Sleep Coach. That box that pops up on our website comes directly to me. If you fill this out, I usually answer you within an hour. And I would like to just add, if you're struggling with sleep apnea and it's untreated, now more than ever, I personally am on day 10 of COVID. I'm recovering, but it was not fun. And more than ever, I really encourage you guys to get this treated, because you're putting yourself at even more risk of developing COVID by having untreated sleep apnea. I made it until December, the whole pandemic. In fact, if you watch the last segment we did, I was saying I've been healthy because I'm finally treating my sleep apnea. And it's true. I am healthier than I ever have been in my entire life. I have managed to not get pneumonia with COVID, thankfully. And I made it through here without getting too short of breath talking. So I appreciate all of you being on tonight. And I would like to open it up for questions right now to ask about my experience with Inspire.
Lauri, that's excellent. And we've already had some people raise their hands. So folks will get those your info to the call center. And Lauri, about how soon, people always want to know if they call or raise their hand till they can come in to see you or one of your providers.
I think we have immediate openings. This is the last week of the year, so I could be wrong that there might not be an opening tomorrow, but most weeks there's an opening tomorrow or the next day. With this being, December 30th, we could be full this week. However, I know we've got openings right away in January, and really encourage you guys to get on our schedule and talk about Inspire.
Excellent. We've got a few questions coming in. Someone wants to know, are there any side effects to Inspire?
Side effects. The surgery is always, that's a risk. You can get infection. I think that we've done really well at Valley Sleep Center. To my knowledge, I think we've only had one patient who actually had a post-surgical infection, but they were diabetic and they had a lot of other complications that kind of attributed to that. But I have a high risk for getting infection, and I did not get an infection. I did very well. I was doing Pilates and yoga and strength training 2 weeks after my surgery. I had some swelling in my neck, but I also talked a lot the night of my surgery. I told you the guys that I took an anti-inflammatory, I think Celebrex. That I did really well with that. And other than that, I think side effects, that's the only thing I can think of. Some people will struggle with a little bit of insomnia, getting used to the stimulation. It kind of feels like a TENS unit in the back of your throat. If you guys have ever had a TENS unit or a little bit of a vibration. Again, it's about mindset. And once you set your mind to, I need to wear this, it's treating my sleep apnea. I eventually found the humming quite soothing, little bit of a vibratory kind of effect, and it actually helps me fall asleep.
That's excellent. Laura, we're getting a few questions on insurance, specifically Medicare and Advantage plans. Are there any insurance plans that you do not accept or Inspire doesn't accept?
So there is a question mark about access. However, I do think depending on your surgeon, if you have access, you might be able to get it covered. I'm not 100% sure. We do take all insurances. There are a couple of banner plans that we don't take, but there are some Inspire surgeons out there that you can go to. It's just we wouldn't be able to manage your care at Valley if you have one of those banner specific plans, but we can help.
Excellent.
Get a surgeon.
Somebody wants to know why do you have to first fail CPAP? Can you talk about the importance of CPAP? I don't know if this person is on CPAP now or they've never tried it. Can you talk about the importance of CPAP first?
So CPAP is the gold standard. It's our frontline choice of treatment from the American Academy of Sleep Medicine. It's not invasive and it does do the job. It is the gold standard, best treatment that you can have. And so your insurance will not cover Inspire sleep therapy unless you have truly failed CPAP. So you have to wear it, you have to try it, and we have to see that you're not doing well, which is why you would have to talk to one of our doctors or nurse practitioners about your personal struggles of why you can't wear CPAP.
Excellent. We're getting a lot of specific questions about Medicare, supplemental plans, Advantage plan. So Medicare, guys, has national positive coverage for Inspire. So it doesn't matter what your supplemental plan, your Advantage plan, your secondary insurance, all of that stuff has to follow Medicare primarily.
Right. And Medicare's BMI, what is it, Ben? 32?
Actually, great point. Medicare BMI is 35. Most commercial plans BMI is 32.
Okay.
And speaking of that, a very active person's asking about working out, lifting weights. So I know you're very active with yoga and a few other things. Has Inspire affected your physical activities in any way?
Not at all. I know there's some limitation about how deep you can go if you're like a scuba diver or underwater. And I don't know what that is, Ben. You might have to help me. But other than that, I think that's the only. And is it only in the beginning or is it forever?
The BMI is just a snapshot in time. So it's only when you apply to insurance.
Oh, sorry. I meant the going underwater.
It's down to 100 feet.
Is that forever or just in the beginning?
That's forever because Inspire was not tested below 100 feet or 3 atmospheres of pressure.
Okay.
With the implant.
Okay.
So the engineers don't want anyone to risk that. Someone else is asking about BMI and body fat may not match, and that's a good probably opportunity for them to schedule a consult with you guys. What would you say?
Yes. So you'll want a sleep to slender consult, and we can help you get that down where you need to get it down, so you can get Inspire.
Interesting question. Someone mentions, so we have to fail CPAP for Inspire. They've been successful CPAP, but they don't want it anymore because they want freedom. So, but I would think you'd have to have documented reasons, right? Falling off the face, sinus infections, things like that.
Right. You just need to talk to your provider about, what your struggles are, and we can help, get the documentation that you need for why you want to be free. I wanted to be free from infections. I kept getting sinus and, pneumonias, and then I was having leaking, and the leaking was more disturbing than the actual snoring to my husband. So, but overall, I just needed to get that treated. So that's what I ended up doing, getting Inspire.
Wonderful, Lauri. So thanks so much for your time tonight, folks. If you have any final questions, please ask. Lauri, any final thoughts for the folks out there tonight?
I was trying to think of, if you need a pacemaker, you can still get a pacemaker, because pacemakers go on the right side of your chest and Inspire goes on the left side. Did I get that right? I said that backwards. Sorry. Inspire goes on the right side and pacemakers go on the left. You can travel. I just, tell them I have a pacemaker, and I go through a different part of the airport security. Yeah, other than that.
Excellent. Well, folks, thanks so much for joining us. Lauri, I think about every Wednesday, at least in January, we hope to host these events, guys. So if you have friends or family, Joanne will be joining us hopefully on the next call, Eileen, so some more patience. And again, if you guys would like to schedule a consult with Lauri, just raise your hand or type your number. And Lauri and everybody else, have a happy new year.
Yes, Happy New Year. Thank you for joining, everybody. We'll see you next Wednesday.